And he's Joe Frazier, but he's faster and he's more powerful than Joe Frazier, and he's Rocky Marciano, but he's almost 30 pounds heavier than Rocky Marciano. So that combination, I think, bodes pretty well for Mike Tyson.
Welcome back to another big fight recap here on BLTV Classic.
Yes, Tyson has the anticipation of a Doberman who's happened upon 210 pounds of unguarded meat.
On today's video, we look back at the night Tyson fought. By the horse's mouth, not only the biggest man in his career, but also the toughest. As the 6'6" Cuban heavyweight José Ribalta withstood inconceivable damage inflicted by the most ruthless version of Iron Mike the world has ever seen. One of the great heavyweight slugfests of all time. Let's get right to it. At 5'10½", Mike Tyson was significantly the shortest heavyweight contender ranked by the Ring magazine's top 10 in the fall of '86. Many boxing fans will remember this era as the New Age, the land of the giants, with the large majority of top contenders and champions from here on out standing in excess of 6'4".
Primo Carnera, a heavyweight boxer called the Monster by Time magazine.
There have been many tall contenders and champions in the past, with Jess Willard and Primo Carnera being prime examples of towering fighters often branded as unskilled behemoths, circus acts, whose achievements in the sport are credited strictly to their advantage in size and weight. That notion changed drastically with the introduction of world-class trainers such as Eddie Fitch and Emmanuel Stewart, who were fixated on not only utilizing the physical advantages a sizable fighter possesses, but more making their boxing skills comparable to the guys a half a foot or so shorter than them.
But right now, Lennox Lewis is giving an old-fashioned whooping to David Tua.
Once Riddick Bowe and Lennox Lewis became the dominant force in the division, big men have ruled the roost ever since.
When I was younger, I used to always say, God, I'm just a midget. I'm never going to grow. I'm never going to be anything because I'm too short to do any kind of sports, anything. But then, I started believing in myself and things worked out right.
José Ribalta was one of those classic, long-rangey fighters that dominated the amateur boxing circuit in his teens due to his size being perfectly cohesive with the classy, dance-like boxing skills taught to him at the home of Cuban boxing in the States, the 5th Street Gym in Miami.
Mike Tyson, here I come, heavyweight.
By the time Jose turned pro in 1982, he was the number 2 rated amateur heavyweight in America, and he used his skills to defeat the usual suspects of journeymen such as David Jacko and Rick Keller in the coming years.
Well, he goes up against José Ribalta, who has to be considered a threat.
Jose was robbed of his first moment of genuine boxing notoriety in his 1985 clash with the soon-to-be heavyweight champion James Bone Crusher Smith. Everyone outside of 2 of the 3 ringside judges felt he won with relative ease. However, dubious decisions are unfortunately a part of the game, and as many fighters have displayed in the past, early setbacks can either make or break a character. And during the Tyson build-up in July 1986, Jose seemed to be peaking, not only physically, but mentally, certain he would be the man to stop Tyson's 25-fight unbeaten streak.
There's a man that could beat Mike Tyson, is José Ribalta. There's going to be a lot of people surprised down in Miami when he knocks him out. When Mike Tyson hurts a guy, he puts him to sleep. If he tags Jose, I hope he don't think Jose's going to lay down. He just better be ready to take another shot. And I'm not going to take no credit away from him, but to this day, he hasn't faced anybody that can punch like Jose.
But I know he's never been in there with a fighter like me.
Watch me fight. Devastation.
And give him a slow beating, nearly death.
Yes, Tyson has the anticipation of a Doberman who's happened upon 210 pounds of unguarded meat.
Tyson met Ribalta at the Trump Plaza Hotel in Atlantic City on August 17, 1986. The tension between the two created a legendary atmosphere among the lucky 1,000 people in attendance. Tyson's snarly grimaces were met by Ribalta's death-defying eyes. It was clear to the viewing audience that they were in for a special night of heavyweight boxing action.
Just as expected, Tyson is right in the chest of Ribalta. Left hand at all times. Right hand again. Yeah, just tremendous body shots and what an uppercut. Counter right hand by Mike Tyson's invited. And there was an uppercut. What a shot.
A classic right hook to the body, right uppercut combo put Ribalta down at the end of the second round. The sheer power of the uppercut would have been enough to send 99.9% of every human on Earth to the shadow realm. Yet, to the crowd's surprise, Ribalta made it back to his feet with enough stability to slug it out until the end of the round.
gets off the ropes. There's a good left to the chin.
Acknowledging Ribalta's resilience, Tyson elected for the water in the basement approach in the next few rounds, hammering Jose to the body to try and soften his core.
Lunging left hand by Tyson. There's an uppercut by Ribalta. No one expected too much from Ribalta. It was a combination from Ribalta and also a low blow by Ribalta. And also like Tyson's corner safety. That was a good left hand. There was a big right hand, and that hurt Ribalta.
Tyson took his attacks upstairs by the end of the 7th, boxing with the same ferocity as he did in the 1st, throwing with the speed and power of a man that has barely broken a sweat.
Does he hit? Is on top of him. There's a big right hand, and Ribalta is about to go. This is all instinct. Another big right hand, back to the body. There is no spring, and there's a smashing left hand, and wisely...
Tyson seemed shocked that Ribalta had made it to his feet again. Yet, instead of taking his feet off the gas and cruising to a unanimous decision, he wanted to entertain the fans by closing the show.
Oh, another big left hand. That's a fighter. Oh, what a shot! And Ribalta's down. And that's it.
Tyson knocked out Ribalta in the 10th in a manner I'm sure the great Customato himself would have been proud of. But as always, HBO's Larry Merchant was underwhelmed by his performance and grilled the aspiring champ in the post-fight interview.
Mike, this guy was a tougher nut to crack than you thought, I bet.
Very enough. He had his mind concentrated. He was going to fight, and he did well, and I commend him very dearly.
What made him so tough? The fact that he fought back, unlike the other fighters who've taken you this far?
Most definitely, he fought back, and he had the idea in his mind he wasn't going to get knocked out. But as you notice, he was knocked down, but wasn't knocked out because he had his mind conscious of that.
Are there too many expectations of you, Mike? Do you think that if you don't, you're in a bind that if you don't knock him out early, if you knock him out early, everybody says the other guy was a bum. If it goes this far, everybody says you can't hit that hard.
Well, what can I say? This happens.
Tyson showed a lot of class in his response by simply acknowledging that Ribalta was as tough and game as they come. In an interview for Ring Magazine in 2014, Tyson named Ribalta as the most durable fighter he'd ever faced, along with the strongest, claiming that the Cuban was very strong in clinches.
His professional record, 32 wins, 9 defeats.
If Tyson had never met Ribalta, I doubt that there'd be even a single person who would have expected him to put up such a brave effort against a prime Mike Tyson, because after the match, his career went more or less down the drain, certifying himself as a bona fide journeyman by his mid-20s. Ribalta retired after 5 straight losses in 1999, yet to this day, he still wants a rematch with Tyson. In fact, his Facebook page is littered with non-stop callouts to the point of obsession. Usually, I'd laugh off these callouts, but with the current landscape in the game today, you just never know who will return to the ring.